Hi, this is Cheryl of Majestic Wire Artworks, and today I'm going to share with you the woven 8 earrings. It's very similar to the pendant, but it's been adjusted to be more dainty and to be able to bend around smaller beads. So again, as usual, I have all your supplies written in the description, and as well as a link to that teaches the 3/4 round weave. And so let's begin. So the first thing I'm going to get you to take is your weaving wire and fold it in half. And so we're going to work right at the start, right at the center. And now take one of your core wires and measure a little bit longer than 2 inches from the end. And we're gonna, the top tail we're gonna put forward so it doesn't get in our way as we weave. And we're gonna lasso it in, so we're just gonna wrap it around once around the first core wire. And then introduce our second core wire. Make it a little bit longer to stagger the 2 core wires. Makes it easier to weave. And whoops. If your lasso slides on you, just remeasure your wires and slide them into position. Okay, so now we're going to start the 3/4 weave. And it's called the 3/4 weave because you're going 3/4 of the way around. So we're all the way around back and halfway through the front and through the 2 wires on top. And then up around again and down and now up through the 2 wires. And that's one pattern. Okay, so underneath both wires, up and down through the 2 and up over the 2 wires and up through the 2. So you're going down through the 2 and then up through the 2. Okay, so I want you to continue your weaving until it is a little bit longer than 1.5 inches. 4 centimeters would be perfect. And I'll see you in a bit, and I'll have my weaving caught up by then. Okay, I'm back, and I've got my little bit more than 1.5 inches done of weaving. And now I'm going to snip off this tail to be about 1/2 inch long, just to get it out of our way. And we're going to flip it over. So what's nice about this weave, it looks the same on both sides, and we're going to use that to our benefit with this tutorial. Okay, I want you to now bend the top wire straight up, and we're going to hold it so it's away from us, just to keep it out of our way. And we're going to coil along this wire for 5 centimeters. And 5 centimeters is 2 inches. There we go, yeah. Okay, so if you need to measure it, or what you could do on a piece of paper is just draw 2 inches that you can compare it to. But let's start coiling. So we're just gonna wrap. You know what I'm gonna do? It's gonna make it easier so it doesn't snag. We need to wrap 2 inches. Let's cut it to 3 inches and just get rid of a bit of a tail. Okay, so about there. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I usually do about 5 at the beginning. So what you need to do is wrap it as close as possible without going over the other wire and without spreading out too far. It's when you spread out too far that you get bumps in your coils. Okay, so I'm going to stop it at that. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to get it done. Caught up. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, I'm back and I've got more than 2 inches coiled here. And I've got it all cinched up nice and tight. And now I'm going to get you to pause it again, and I want you to do the exact same thing with your other 2 core wires because it looks exactly the same from both sides. So we're going to make 2 pieces exactly the same, even though we're going to make them opposite earrings. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, so now we have both of our pieces. They look exactly the same. Trim your weaving wires to about 1/2 inch. That's just to make it easier to work with. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do one earring with it positioned this way and the other earring with it positioned this way, and that way we're going to have opposite wraps and mirrored earrings. Okay, so I'm going to start with this one. It doesn't matter which one, whichever you want to start with. And we're going to start with the top, putting on the bottom bead just to help position our little curl at the bottom. Okay, we want that wire to be perpendicular. So the curl that we're going with is we're going back towards the weave with our coil and doing a cute little curl, and we actually want it to sit up against the bead this time. Okay. And then we're going to wrap it around the bead. Okay. Like that. How does that look? Okay. Now, if you feel comfortable, you could do the other one, the exact same thing right now, so that you can try and get the little curl very similar, or you could finish the whole earring and then try and match up the other one separately. Now, that's your choice. I'm going to do it where I actually do it, so I got to make sure. Do it now. Okay, that's the same. We want it different. That's why it's almost a good thing to do it now, so you don't make 2 earrings the same. Okay, so we want it this way. Okay. Put the first bead on. And this bead is a 8mm bead. So now we want this one to curl towards the weave, which is the opposite way. And then we're going to go up and around the bead and crisscross. Okay, so how do they look? Do they look pretty close? That's what we want. We want it to look pretty close. Okay, so I'm going to continue working with this one now. Okay, and we're going to now introduce a 6mm bead. And I'm going to wrap this around, and we kind of want it to have a little bit of an extra space in here, but not too much. There. Kind of moved over here, so I'm going to tighten that up. And now I'm holding the weave, the coil, next to the bead to support it. And wrap that around. And now I'm going to trim it. I had lots of coil left over. I went way over the 2 inches. I was just enjoying the coiling. We want to snip it off about 3 or 4 millimeters from the core wire. And then crimp it in, trying to hide the end against the other, and we want to gingerly do it because we don't want to ruin the coil in the front, but did move a tiny bit. Okay. I'm going to grab it like this instead. Okay, that looks good. Okay, I'm going to now, because I do like to do mine in alternates, I'm going to do the same step with the other earring. Looks a bit different right here. So I'm going to adjust this swirl a little bit to be tighter at the bottom, less of a space there. Now it's going to give you I don't think there's a way of avoiding this. When we do a tight curl with a coil, it always spaces out like that. It's just hard to avoid. And we just have to accept that. Okay, I think that's better. So again, I'm supporting the coil as I wrap around. And I'm going to snip off again about 3 or 4 millimeters away from the core wire. And this time I'm going to grab the end like this and tuck it in, push it down because I don't want to wreck the coil. And compare the two. When you're mirroring your earrings, It's always good to compare very frequently. There. Okay. It's not perfect. I see this one's got a space too. Maybe it's just that the bead moved. So I'm just going to tuck that in like that. Yeah, the beads are moving. Okay. It's good. Okay, now we're going to form the weave around the beads. And the best thing to do is to support the beads in place as best we can. See, I'm holding it like that. And now I'm going to support the weave here. As I form it around the upper bead. Push it down. Okay. How's that? Okay, I want to make sure that I'm happy with it before I cut it, because I can always unravel it and give it a stretch before I cut it. I'm tempted to do that because I want it down just a little bit, but I'm going to push from here instead. Okay. And how does that look? It's better. It's gonna, they all cover the top bead a little bit. That's just part of this design. It just happens every time. I'm going to push this down instead of trying to grip it, as I don't want to wreck the weave, if at all possible, that is. Being a bit difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it this way to angle it in. Okay, you can still see it a little bit, but this one moved now. How's that look? Good. Okay, I'm happy with that. This has a more three-dimensional look. That's okay for an earring because it's moving around a lot. Okay, so now we'll do the other earring the same way. So I'm holding everything firmly. This would be nice to be ambidextrous. I'm so right-handed, I have to really work at the left-handed ones. I'm going to work upside down. Okay, I'm going to look at the two. Okay, this one's got more of a three-dimensional curve. I'm going to push that down right now to match. Okay, I think that it's pretty close. I'm happy with that. I'm going to angle it right from the get-go with this one. So angle it down like that, and it'll be easier to crimp it in. There. And it's hidden. I don't have to work at hiding anything. So that's done. Okay, now we want to put on the Rondelle bead. So we have 3mm Rondelle beads. I've got clear to finish off the top before we put the loop on for the earrings. See, it just finishes it off. Okay, we need to make the loops this way, side to side, so we're going from the side. And I'm going to go just slightly less than halfway on my shank of my round nose pliers. Make the loop. So it's nice and round. Okay, I'm gonna snip it off at the back. I think I should have been a little bit closer. Okay, I think that's good. Oh, that's cute. Okay. Now we'll do the exact same thing for the other earring. Oh, being stubborn. There we go. Okay. So I want to do the same measurement for this earring as I did the other one. Okay. That one went a little crooked on me, but I'm going to trim it, and when I crimp it in, I'll straighten it all out. Just every so often, you get an awkward one. I'm going to trim it off more. There. Okay, now I'm ready for the ear wires. Okay, and they are done. Okay, so they're all done, and I thank you for joining me with this tutorial, and I'm sure we'll see you soon. Have a good night.